Welcome to the Last Stand podcast in video form, folks. Coming at you from the Carolina Command Center. I am Bill Schaefer, also known as your less than humble host, Wild Bill of the Wild Bill fame. Folks, as you all know, I've been a big proponent for our school system right here down on the ground in the good old USA, because I've come to the conclusion that the future of our county, our state, and ultimately our country, it all begins in the schools, folks. And, you know, I don't have to tell you that I've been pretty hard on our school board last year and probably this year. But I've also been encouraged and inspired by certain members of the school board. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about a January 6, 2026 school board meeting that was held, and some of the things that I got from this school board meeting. That's what I'm talking about, folks, and you're going to see what I mean here in a minute. So, without any further delay, without any further ado, let's get into it. You know, last night's Stanley County School Board meeting simultaneously confirmed what I've been saying about this board for years now, and especially last year. And, you know, I've been inspired by certain members of the board, and I've been extremely disappointed and resentful of other board members. But, you know, ultimately, I've been inspired, and I was especially inspired by certain board members at this January 6, 2026 meeting that we held. You know, no matter how large or small the issue seems to be, everything that a school board does should always be done with the people and their interests front and center in the minds of our board members. So let me just share with you what I'm talking about here. Okay, the public meeting with the Stanley County School Board that took place on January 6th. It just seemed to be another meeting, just like any other meeting. It starts out with, recognitions and some feel-good stuff, which incidentally takes a particularly long time to get through. I'm not saying I'm opposed to doing that sort of thing, but I think it's misplaced. And honestly, there's a reason why this board constructs these board meetings that way. The majority of the board does this on purpose. The members that I call the monarch majority folks, they do this purposefully, okay? And the question becomes, why is the board meeting constructed in this way? Well, I'll get to that in a minute, folks. At that meeting, towards the end of it, Carla Poplin, District 5 representative here, proceeded to push forward for the board, the people's business, in terms of policy. This is done typically during the board comments or towards the end of the meetings. She was bringing to the board policies that the policy committee, at the time of the policy reviews, these were policies that needed to be voted on to put them into effect, right? Now, when a committee moves to change policy or amend it, improve it, or whatever the case may be here, it goes through a number of people, folks, and it includes this committee, which was made up of 3 members, Carla Poplin, Bill Sorensen, and Megan Almond. And after it's worked on to rewrite these policies or to amend these policies, which incidentally, it costs the taxpayers money to do this, all right? You're taking time and taxpayer money to do this sort of thing. After all that's done, it's brought before the board for a vote, an up or down vote. Now, these policies, which were brought before the board, were as follows: Policy 2310 and Policy 2302. And from what I got during this meeting, and according to Ms. Poplin's narrative on these particular policies, this would be like the third time that they brought these policies before the board for a vote, and it would be the third time that the board, the majority of the board, voted to push these policies back into committee, and there would be no vote to affect these policies. Well, why do they do this? Well, because the majority of the board is trying to bury the changes in these policies. Okay, these are changes that will directly impact you folks. Okay, it directly affects the tax-paying public. All right, the Monarch majority of this board, 4 board members, they know that they can keep pushing these policies back into committee until the committee member makeup is changed. Okay, and they're making sure this year to change them in a way that would benefit the majority of this board, the tyrannical majority of this board, okay? Once the committees are changed, they can ensure that these policy changes that directly impact and benefit you, these changes would never see the light of day, folks. In terms of the committees and the makeup of these committees, the majority moved to ensure that each member of the majority would be placed on policy committee with a 2-member majority from this Monarch majority that I talk about. This was to directly thwart the efforts of your representatives, Megan Almond, Bill Sorensen, and Carla Poplin, to make policy changes that would benefit you, okay, especially with regard to Policy 2310. The board majority, Glenda Gibson, Robin Whitaker, Vicki Watson, and Dustin Lisk, do not want the public to be able to have better participation at these meetings. Policy 2310 would effectively increase the speaking time for speakers from the 3-minute rule to 4 minutes, okay? I think it ought to have been pushed to 5 minutes a speaker with a limited number of speakers. But what they proposed was to change it from 3 minutes to 4 minutes. And looking at the policy, I believe it would add a total of 5 minutes to public participation, that section of the public meeting. So how did the board vote on these particular issues? 2310, which directly affects public participation, and 2302, which is the policy that affects the participation of board members and requires them to be at these board meetings. How did the board vote on these crucial issues?
The change is very minimal, and so we thought that would be okay to do on first read tonight.
So let's go ahead and do that. Is that okay?
So the ones that are up for approval that have been sitting for 30 days are 2302, remote participation in board meetings, 2310, public participation at board meetings, 7520, family and medical leave, new policy 9305, mascot and school colors, new administrative regulation 3320AR, which is student overnight travel, and those have sat for 30 days.
Okay, I'm going to ask if we can approve, if we can go through each one and vote on them separately. And I would like to start with that one that you started with.
So you're making a motion to do them separately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
the first one that sat for 30 days is 2302, and coming out of committee, I would just need a second for remote participation in board meetings.
okay, she needs a second coming out of committee. And this is 2302, remote participation in board meetings. Is there a second? Okay, we have a second by Mr. Sorensen. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Do that again. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's 3. All opposed say no. No. That's 3. I'm going to break that tie and say no.
So that one goes back to committee?
It will.
Is there
I
Any-
think I just want,
suggestion to the committee as to why this is going back I think a third time?
I think just get your committee together and revisit that, I think, would be the best thing. Just put your committee back and revisit it.
I think the committee needs some direction. Mr. Louder, is that,
Direction before to a committee. I know I did. I don't know if anybody took anything up, but I gave.
it was discussed,
Okay.
but it did not pass.
Okay.
Well, you've just been directed to send it back to the committee. If any other board member wants to go to the committee and be heard, they're always welcome, even though they might not be sitting on a committee. So somebody that has an interest in pursuing an issue with that particular policy might be,
Okay,
want to invest themselves in that meeting, in your next meeting.
okay. All right, the next one is 2310, public participation at board meetings.
Okay, this one's coming out of committee also, so just need a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is there a second? A second by Mr. Sorensen. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's 3. Opposed? No. Okay, that is a tie. I'll break the tie and say no.
Any information for the committee on that one?
I think that one would be just to revisit, have discussion, look at things maybe that might have been sent in before with your committee.
So basically just go back to the 3 minutes from the 4 minutes.
So let's recap, shall we? You've got policies that needed to be voted on, policies that directly impact you, the tax-paying citizen of Stanley County. You've got the board majority, Robin Whitaker, Glenda Gibson, Dustin Lisk, and Vicki Watson, voting no on, or actually pushing these policies that would require them to physically attend these meetings to uphold their obligations to you, pushing these back into committee because they want to bury that policy. They also want to bury the policy that would increase your ability or increase your time and give you the ability to better articulate the issues and concerns that you have in the county as they relate to the school system. This is what they've done. Megan Allman, Bill Sorensen, Carla Poplin, all voted in the affirmative to actually vote on these policies and to give you some more time to address your concerns at public meetings. They voted yes on your board members having to physically attend these board meetings unless something very specific and conditional, according to state law, would prevent them from doing so. So basically, you know, these board members, they have to attend these meetings, okay? Which is their obligation to you, the people. And what they want to be able to do is, in the case of one board member in particular, as I am told, is to be able to, do whatever they want to do, play golf, and just call in and remote in to the meetings and receive the reports from the administration from wherever they are and whenever they want to avoid the public. That's the bottom line there. Furthermore, folks, the majority tyrants on this board, like I said, Robin Whitaker, Glenda Gibson, Vicki Watson, Dustin Lisk, and make no mistake, folks, he's not a board member, but the superintendent, this weasel superintendent that we have, supports this majority on this board, this monarch majority, in everything that they do to manipulate what it is this board does, okay? This board votes down your right to have sufficient time to articulate your concerns over issues that affect you, the taxpayer, families, and children in this school system. They talk about, how much they care about the kids and how much they care about their schools. It's genuine, right? But they don't. They don't. And it's reflective in everything that they do that puts the people at a disadvantage. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me, this is precisely the way Democrats govern. This is precisely the way Democrats do business. These pretend Republicans that we have on this board, they're not Republicans. They're not real Republicans. I can tell you that. I don't give a damn what their letter says after their name. These are not real Republicans, folks. They're pretend Republicans. And they act and they govern just like Democrats would. They govern just like little tyrants. Folks, this is how the majority is going to do business with you. Okay? And I know this, folks, having received several accounts from reliable sources, that Glenda Gibson herself has stated to people that she would rather not have the people, the public, participate or speak at all at these meetings. And if she had her way, the people wouldn't be speaking at all, because she doesn't care to hear from the people, period, on anything. And the board majority is in agreement with this. The board would rather have their secret meetings in violation of state law and policy. They would rather keep you from the truth of what it is that they're doing and what it is that they're hiding from you and how they're mismanaging your money. And then they want to keep you silent about it. I also understand from sources that this is precisely why the meetings are constructed the way that they are in terms of public speaking. Having whatever fluff they can stuff into the beginning of the meeting, and then having the closed session for an hour or two, and then moving on to business before the people can even speak on issues. And with a meeting that's supposed to address the business of the people, folks, the obligation of the board is to hear from the people, listen to the concerns or issues that the people have, not the, they need to note these issues, listen to the people, and address these issues as soon as possible, if not at that time, right? They want people to lose interest and be discouraged from speaking by making the people wait hours on end before they even get to speak. And they want to limit the people's ability, if not restrict it entirely. They want to limit the people's ability to articulate their concerns with the board as much as they possibly can, because they know they're not doing right. Folks, the business of the board is to address the people's business in a timely manner, not to waste the people's time by jamming all this fluff and everything else that has nothing to do with the people, jamming closed sessions in the middle of this thing before the people even have a chance to address the board. This is manipulation, folks. This is tyranny. The three board members, Bill Sorensen, Carla Poplin, and Megan Allman, are justifiably outraged at how this majority has treated the people of Stanley County. So, how did our board members react to this? Well, I can tell you right now, the four board members, the majority on this board, they didn't talk about any of these things, really. They didn't have any comment for it. But I can tell you that Bill Sorensen, Megan Allman, and Carla Poplin had something to say about this.
Thank you. Next up's board comments. I know it's been a rather long meeting, but I certainly don't want to take away from giving you the opportunity to make comments. So I'm going to start with Ms. Poplin.
I want to take a moment and just say that I hope everybody had a great holiday and enjoyed their time off and that our students are back. But I do want to make a bit of a statement about policy 2310 and 2302. These have come to the board now as of tonight. I think tonight was like the third or fourth time. And they sat for 30 days and no comments or suggestions were made. And in 2310, the only change was 2 words in the entire policy. And it stated that public comment would go from 3 to 4 minutes and not exceed 15 would go to 20. So that's literally 5 minutes out of a board member's night. I think it's a shame that we can't spend 5 extra minutes at a board meeting to listen to the public and give the public 1 more minute to finish their comment. It's just shameful. The next policy, 2302, same thing. It's sat for 30 days. I think this is the second or third time. It's remote participation in board meetings. There are 7 exemptions that you can remote into a board meeting. You get 3 free passes to begin with. And once you've exceeded those 3, there are 7 reasons. The committee had asked to remove 3 of those. One is family illness or emergency, weather conditions, military service, or employment obligations. The 3 that were in consideration were out-of-town travel, lack of childcare, and just a plain old scheduling conflict. A scheduling conflict could be anything, from the fact that I want to get my hair done or I just don't feel like coming to a meeting, I want to call in. And as a duly elected board member, we owe it to the stakeholders of this county to show up in person to a meeting, to hear what people have to say, to show up to a hearing or an appeal and sit in that seat and listen to folks. And those are, pretty simple things, I think, to do as somebody who's sat here and been elected for this position. And if you can't do that, in my opinion, you should just resign your seat.
Thank you. Mr. Sorensen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, the ugly will be a personal comment. This is personal observation. Take it for what it's worth. As a member of the policy committee that agonized over these policies for hours and hours and hours, I resent the way that the chairperson goose-stepped through the process of presenting a motion, seconding a motion, and voting on it. Obviously, it's obvious to anybody paying attention it's predetermined votes, okay? Here's how it's supposed to work, according to me, in the professional way. You have a motion, you have a second, you discuss. If I'm going to vote no for anything, I'll let you know then, okay? Otherwise, I'm just going to go to the newspaper, like we did with that, some of that COVID nonsense. I am personally offended by your actions. I'm personally offended by the fact that 4 people on this board make decisions without even, they've had those policies for more than 30 days, but I mean, they've been on the things for 30 days. Seriously, if we're just wasting our time having committee meetings and you've predetermined outcomes, let me know. I'll go spend some time with a grandkid. It's really simple. And I'm really not upset about any of the policies except 2310. All we were asking for was letting the public talk for 1 more freaking minute. Individuals talk for 1 more minute and add 5 minutes to our board meetings. To me, we just told the people that we serve, our stakeholders and people that come out to public comment, we told them we don't really want to hear anything more from you. I find that disgusting.
Thank you. Ms. Allman?
Over the last year, I have learned that this board operates as a dictatorship, so I actually had this speech prepared since I already knew how they would vote tonight on these 2 policies. So I'm going to read that so that way I can get everything out that I want to say. I am frustrated and disappointed by the board members who voted against adding 1 minute to policy 2310, public participation at board meetings. 1 minute, 60 seconds. That vote wasn't about time, it's about control. If we look at the past year, the same 4 members always vote together. That's not collaboration, that's obstruction. Public input isn't the problem here. Your accountability is. When a majority works to limit voices instead of hearing them, the public should take note. I hope the community remembers exactly how these votes were cast, and I hope the public pays attention not to just what is said here tonight, but to how people vote on this board. Because votes reveal values. The opposed votes made here tonight reveal who believes this board exists to serve the community and who sees the community as an obstacle. And to piggyback off of what Ms. Whitaker said, last year, the policy committee, it was myself, Mr. Sorensen, and Ms. Poplin. And conveniently, the policy committee has been changed to Ms. Poplin, which I fully support. She has done a great job over the years. Ms. Watson and Ms. Whitaker. So to the community, policy 2310 will never have an extra minute added. Your voice would not have any impact on this current board. So I just hope that people remember that and they vote accordingly.
And Megan Allman is absolutely correct here, folks. You need to remember this come election time when it comes time to vote. Because if we don't, and we elect the same people to our school board, if we elect, if we don't elect people, good people, like Megan Allman and Hannah Chavez Lear, who's running for an at-large seat, if we don't ensure that good people like Carla Poplin stay on this board, if we elect pretend Republicans and Democrats to this school board, we can expect more of the same kind of crap that we've been getting from this current monarch majority. You know, we've got some very serious issues that we need to address and solve, folks. You know, things like redistricting and community-based schooling, budgetary issues, prioritizing the proper management of your tax dollars, all of it, the whole gambit, folks. And what you should be able to expect if we get the majority on this board is that you have the ability to make these issues a priority. And you should be able to adequately speak with enough time to these issues. And you should expect that your hard-earned tax money be spent responsibly and wisely. And the board majority right now, by virtue of their vote at this public school board meeting, basically just said, screw you, Stanley County. We're going to do what we want when we want to do it. We don't want to hear from you. So remember this when you go to vote, folks, this midterm, you know? And that's all I got to say about that. But unfortunately, folks, that's all the time that I have here on this particular issue. But don't worry, dry your eyes. I'll be back with the regularly scheduled broadcast podcast episodes of the Last Stand podcast. And I'll be back with another video or two as we get closer to the election season here, which is, and which will be, and I know you hear this like every election cycle, folks, but I believe it, especially this year. This is going to be the most pivotal midterm election that we will have, probably in our lifetimes. We've got 2 at-large seats that are coming up this midterm. Megan Allman is running for her at-large seat, and Hannah Chavez Lear, newcomer to Stanley County politics or running for election for anything. Hannah Chavez Lear is running for the other at-large seat on this school board. Robin Whitaker, as far as I know, is not seeking re-election. So we've got a real shot here at maintaining some sort of momentum, and we've got a real shot at making real change on this board so that we can affect fiscal responsibility, accountability, transparency, and some common sense to this school board and to our school system. Remember this. Remember all of this when it's time to vote, because we've got some pretenders on this board, and we've got Democrats that are coming for your schools and for your county. And I hope that when it's time, the people that are truly fighting for you, I hope that we will take the majority, keep the majority, because when we do, it will mean that you, the people of Stanley County, will have the majority on this board. And it's going to mean the end of the pretenders' reign in this county and on this board. And when we win the next election, just be prepared, folks, to see just how far your voice is going to go. So, until next time, folks, stay involved, stay tuned, and stay free.
Yoo-hoo! I'll make you famous.